Hey-yo! It is Friday, and this stream should have happened yesterday, but my internet got a bit of a hiccup. Don't know why. Stuff happens. It's better today, so we will give this a shot. Yeah. I see my usuals are around. Gigi, Kim, Indigo Luna, Tweet is here. And Alexei, yeah, I see the usual suspects around. Hopefully, more people will show up. We are still at Young Thug RICO-Trial, or the YSL-gang. YSL stands for Young Slime Life, because that's an impressive name for a gang. That's still so stupid. Sardonisms is here, and Kim Farnham is here. Yes, like, subscribe, you know all the thingies, and become a member. There are member stuff in the member section. Today, I am not alone. If you saw the thumbnail, you already know this, but it's the first time he's here. I've only been on one stream with him, and that was on Jeff's F-It Friday stream. So my recollection of not the greatest, but I know he's a good guy, and he has a lot of snark when he wants to, so he will fit right in. So everybody, let's say hi to Sean at Potentially Criminal.
Hello. Hi, Nicholas. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Had a thunderstorm here running through earlier today, but it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lighting show.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. And you mentioned the gang names here. YSL is certainly better than the YNW gang. The other that trial that's going on in Florida right now.
Yeah, Yves Saint Laurent gang or whatever it's. I don't know what it's actually.
But no, the one down in Florida, it's YNW, and it stands for Young N-Word World. Yes, so it's better. You can actually say this one.
Yeah, I can say all three words here. Jamie is here. Hi.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Tweety.
Yeah, she is a regular at David over at Michigan Law Show. And
yes,
no.
Yes.
That's
far more dignified.
Young Bingo. Yeah. Young. If you rearrange the letters, it could be Young Ginger World, but I don't think so. Okay. Well, when we have done 3 streams about this, 2 or 3, well, whatever. First was just a mishmash of the shenanigans that has been going on for the last 6 months. Then I did the first day of this is a recap for the audience. I did the first day of the Daubert hearing, where we found out that the chief medical examiner does not follow a standard operational procedure, which was me working in labor law within the industry. I've never heard of that. I thought everybody everywhere at least had a standard operation procedure to walk out to have as a center point that you can then divert, because I understand with medical examiners and autopsies, sometimes you have to divert from it. If the guy comes in pieces, you can't really start with an Y section, but not having one at all, that was interesting. But then again, when she went through her credentials, she majored in zoology, and then took on what was the other thing she studied? at university. She studied anatomy. And those two words says, okay, animal genitalia. Not sure, but apparently that's an interesting combination. But then
there's also that thing about white girls and dogs. So
she was not a white girl.
Okay.
This one, but yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That's one interesting lady that won't be out in freedom for much longer. But this person was older black woman. It's impressive that she got herself to the point of being a chief medical examiner with all her employees, but no standard operational procedure. And then on the stand, she said, well, once she get to she signs the final report. She puts in the notes she believes are important, and then she gets rid of the rest. How are your feelings about that conduct, Sean? You who are a criminal.
The whole not having a standard procedure, that's something you see that's kind of dying off, because there has been this more formalization and standardization with things. That's really dying off, where people are kind of doing things on their own. The fact it still happens though is a problem. This whole idea though that she had notes and she destroyed those notes and she only put in what she thought was important. Oh, I would have a field day with that, especially when it gets to her talking about a cause of death. Well, what else didn't you include? Well, now she doesn't have notes to go back on. So now she can't say, well, I don't know what's there. And I think that's grounds to show there's exculpatory evidence that could have been destroyed. We don't know, because she's only telling you what she thought was important. Or are you sure there wasn't other stuff?
Yeah.
How do you know? I had this happen once with a police officer. He's like, well, everything in the report is important. I thought it was important at the time. So if you didn't include it, it wasn't important. I said, but how do you know if you didn't include it? And he, I kind of tripped him up for a minute. But yes, yes. Oh, I only included what was important. Well, how do you know it's important? Well, where are your notes? Oh, I don't have my notes anymore, so I don't remember what was important. Like what was not important? And this is just, that's not good. I would have a lot of fun with that if that was a case I was dealing with.
Yeah, and there have been, at least I've seen, there are 3 now. From the beginning, I believe it was 28 defendants when everything started. Now they are down to 11. 8 people have taken plea deals and supposedly are going to testify against Young Thug and the rest of the defendants. But then again, we found out in the second or third episode I did with Andrew Branca that, according to the lead attorney, there are still defendants who does not have representation and are held without even a bond hearing because they don't have representation. When it comes to for me, an outsider of the US, I don't know the entirety of the Constitution, but it sounds like not
the important parts.
Yeah, I know the important part. That doesn't sound like it's constitutional.
It's not, but they get to say, ooh, these are scary gang members. So yes, they get to be held. That's why they're being held up on, because they're dangerous. Okay, well, why don't they have an attorney yet? And this is actually a problem in the state of Georgia. There's been a lot going on down there with their public defender's office. There's been issues about indigent defense. There's a guy actually sitting in the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta who has been sitting and awaiting trial for 10 years on a murder charge. And this is after 2 of his co-defendants were tried and acquitted. And he's been sitting for years on end and hasn't had his day in court yet. So this is not untypical. In some of the, and this is not to make fun of the southern states, but this is a very endemic thing in the South. Just issues with the justice system, and it's not the public defender's office's fault. I think it's more just the administration of justice in their state. But like, for example, in Ohio, if they couldn't they would get attorneys for these guys by hook or crook. They would get people there meeting with these guys, giving some representation. Because yes, for them to have nobody that's criminal. And these guys have been sitting in jail probably for almost a year now at this point. But this is part...
Young Thug's bond hearing was just over a year ago. So this must have happened right around the same time they brought everybody in. And I asked this of Andrew, and I will ask you the same question. Can this be prosecution tactics to get people to testify against Young Thug?
And you mean just trying to leverage people, get them to plea and things like that? I would, this is America, and I believe in the Constitution. I would never ever claim that a district attorney's office would ever do that to people and leverage them using unconstitutional tactics. No. But I will say, it's also Robert Heinlein, the author, said, "Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity or inefficiency." And I think that this is more of just inefficiency, because it's really, the state can ask for no bond, but the state really doesn't have a role in whether or not that person gets an attorney. So that's more of on the courts. So I think it's kind of more of just some incompetence, but certainly the state, oh my gosh, we can't let these scary gang members out. And now, did they all really do it? Probably not.
Because never in the history of rule of law in any country has it happened that prosecution has done bad stuff.
No, never. Not even in God's country.
Not even in God. Which one?
Yours.
Which God? We don't have one. Well, we might have many, but which one? We have money, we have the Christian God, we have the Muslim God, we have the Jewish God, we have the old gods.
Well, you're in Sweden, right?
Yeah.
It's Svega.
Yeah. And we are a secular country where we separated the state from church. Well, in theory, so have the United States, but not when, Pledge of Allegiance and what's on the money and stuff like that might lead you to, and the tax exemptions and stuff like that.
Yes.
But that's not why we are here. I thought we would go right into day 2 of the Daubert hearing and see what kind of shenanigans I haven't watched this, but I do know that because it was a 7-day Daubert hearing.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there was loads of interesting stuff going on. So we'll see if any of the shenanigans happen to happen. And we have about an hour and 40 minutes before my Finally Friday stream starts. And I hope Sean can join me for that one as well.
Oh, I think I can stick around. I can stick around.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I will be sure to give you the link in the private chat.
Oh, and real quick, sardonisms, where I am in Cleveland, Ohio, so up in Northeast Ohio. But if you're anywhere in Ohio, I will travel. Just got to get a hold of me.
If you commit a crime in Ohio, Sean's your guy. Don't make, and I have to say, David had this sleeping naked guy trial. That was a 4-day trial, and she was convicted by one thing only, we believe, and that was she talked to the police. The police came to her, walked up to her vehicle, said, "Can you step out? We just want to talk." General advice: if you are in that situation, you have one thing to say: I want my lawyer.
So you mean when they ask you, they just want you to come in and talk, or they want you to just stop by?
They asked her to step out of her vehicle and stand in front of the police car, just to have a conversation. 3 cops surrounding her, her back against the car.
I would ask, you can ask, can I say no? That would be my no, because honestly,
Yeah.
make it documented that they are demanding. I say, do I have to get out? And if he says yes, now he's ordering you out. Okay, because if they just say, "Do you mind stepping out of the car?" Well, no, I'm not going to. If they force you out of the car, then yes. And at that point, yeah, I would just be, like I try to. You tell them I have nothing further to say, and I would like an attorney.
Yeah, and this was an 18-year-old girl who now was convicted, and both me and David and most I've talked to says that interview where the cops led her on until she gave them the answer they were looking for, and she was convicted. So yeah, more or less only based on that. But that's not the trial we are here to talk about. We are here because young thug and his YSL gang has been naughty boys, and the great state of Georgia has decided, instead of bringing separate charges, to round them all up under the RICO-act. So let's see. I have to. Where's my. There. My beautiful tractor in the way of the law and C word. There. Okay. Let's find out what's going on today. Understand? Should have searched for when it actually started. There is a young thug with car marks on his face.
And there's the attorney who got in trouble.
Yep. And this is at a point where he still hasn't gotten himself into trouble. So he's still there. But he has been one of the most active lawyers asking questions to during the Daubert hearing. And I saw an interview with him when he said he had a target on his back the entire time. So they were more or less just looking for an excuse. And bringing,
that's not a surprise.
And then bringing, even if it is your own prescription pills to court, if the judge have ordered no drugs in court whatsoever, don't bring them.
Well, yeah, because in this trial, somebody actually did a drug deal in the middle of the courtroom too.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know if it is this day or one of the other days. I'm kind of hoping it's this day, but you never know.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. It is, yeah. It's a cluster F.
Wait, what did your mug say? Oh, say mine's is the Darrell Brooks Coffee Company. Which you could still buy on my Teespring.
And I know my chat has been asking me to open a merch store, but yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, if you want to, I can talk to you later about that. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I've tried with one of the standards that you can just incorporate with YouTube, but they can't find my address, which is odd. So no, we don't have in whatever. But I sent them official letters from the state saying, yes, I do live here. So we'll see when they return the call. So I can... This is not me. This is law and C words stream that sometimes have a hiccup. Jesus. Judges.
Of those who are in indictment 22 SC 183572. Let me go ahead and just take.
It's not me. It's the law and C word stream that had a hiccup. That has hiccups. So it's not buffering or anything. Sadly. Even the camera guy in this has been.
All right, let's just see who's here for the time being. Khalif Adams.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, madam. Okay, all right. Durante Beebe.
There are a few lawyers
All
around.
right, good morning again. Okay, Damone Blaylock.
Don't ask me to spell their names, please.
He's in a probation revocation hearing in Gwinnett County. As soon as it's over, he's gonna come right down.
Say again.
And hiccup.
Do you know if he's waived his client's presence? Does he give you that particular talk with waived his presence?
No, Your Honor, he hasn't.
Do you know if he told you if he filed a conflict letter?
I can find out, Your Honor.
I tell him he needs to be here, because he'd be here. And if he didn't file a conflict letter, that's going to be a problem. All right. Jeffery Williams, good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Adams.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning.
All right.
And the madam.
All right, Cordarius Dorsey.
Good morning, also.
Good morning, sir. All right. Christian Eppinger. Good morning, sir. All right. Mr. Menendez, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Farley.
I don't know.
All right, Mr. Fleetwood. Where's Mr. Fleetwood? Just raise your hand, sir, if you're here.
President in the back.
Oh, where?
President in the back.
All right, thank you, madam. Mr. Garlington is, we are awaiting him. I know where he is at this point in time. All right, Quintavious Greer.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Mormon. Good morning, madam.
Mike Russell, Mr. Greer as well.
Good morning. All right, Marquavius Huey.
Good morning, Judge.
Only coffee so far.
Good morning, gentlemen. All right. All right, DeMonte Kendrick.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. King.
Good morning, sir. All right. All right, Demise McMullen. Thank you, sir.
No, David. I won't spell any.
Tinquarius
name.
Mender.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nicole Fagan.
Inquirious Bender.
Good morning, Ms.
I don't
Fagan.
know.
And Ms. Fagan, I'd note for the record, you were also present yesterday. What time did you come in yesterday?
Right on time.
Right on time. There you go. So we accounted for you for both days. You get a check mark. That's wonderful. All right. Jaden Myrick. Ms. Bernard, good morning. All right, Cormerius
for
Nichols.
gifting 5 membership.
Good morning, Mr. Harvey.
Mad Wintersteel. Name I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr. Bott
Gift
said he'll
loan
give you, maybe some bagels.
Congratulations. There are members only.
I've never seen a trial where the judge has to conduct attendance like this. This is
Which one?
hilarious.
All right, thank you,
At this
sir.
point,
Good
there
morning,
are still
counsel.
28 defendants.
I saw, I listen, I see everybody, Thank you, sir. All right, Rodeus Ryan, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
All right, good morning. Antonio Sledge. Where's Mr. Sledge?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wright is his attorney. He didn't need him for this morning.
That's right. Okay, you were correct about that. Trontavia Stevens. Ms. Gladden, good morning, madam. All right, good morning again. All right. Mr. Garlington, good morning, sir. All right.
We throw you out in the deep end. So JC's is here. Good to see you again.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Botson, Mr. Short, and good morning, Mr. Stillwell. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. You pay. I understand. That's right. Morning, sir. All that so that we can have a discussion about those questions Thursday morning. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would just kind of politely remind everybody. I asked everybody to kind of be here at 9 o'clock. I start not 9 by 9:30. We can't start till everybody gets here. So it's as much as you can, please go ahead and get here timely. And if you run into any problems, as many of you have done, please just contact my chambers. But try as much as you can to be on time so we can go ahead and get started.
I don't know if you've seen it, but this judge likes to have interesting punishment for contempt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that with the jurors especially. And I think that's fine because just finding people doesn't do it. I mean, there's been so much hijinks in this trial that he's got no other option to start leveling massive, sanctions on people.
Yeah. He made one lawyer pay lunch for his colleagues.
Yep.
And
Made the one-
writing essays. And the only person he actually punished was the woman he sent 3 days to jail for filming in the courtroom. But I saw that later she only spent like 6 or 7 hours.
That's usually typical when people get sentenced to incarceration. What usually happens is the court, you're usually supposed to bring that person back and say, like, okay, do you realize, like, are you sorry? And usually the average person's like, oh my God, yes, I don't want to go back to jail. And that's it for them. Now, there may be times where because you can't just say 30 days and you're gone or 3 daes and you're gone. The appeals courts would get a hold of that and you get a little like, they'd be like, hey, Judge Schnick, how you doing? Yeah, you should probably see this guy again and purge his contempt. Now, there may be times where like they bring you in every day and say like, hey, are you sorry about that? No. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow. But that's the most extreme case. I mean, like the most I could think of in recent history in America, somebody spending a lot of time in jail for contempt was a reporter during back in like 2005 when some Iraq war investigations were going on. She refused to give up one of her sources. Her name was Judith Butler. She spent like 170 some days in jail. And every day they brought her in. Are you going to tell us the name of your source? Nope. And they put her back in jail. And they tried again the next day. But yeah, that's just a secret for everybody. Just so you know, if you do get held in contempt, the court's going to try to figure out a way to not keep you there because it's not a good look. But I will tell you, that doesn't mean you're going to want to spend 5 minutes in jail because it sucks. Yeah.
Oh, one of the lawyers had a fine to a charity of his choice. The lawyer picked a stripper charity.
See, that's how being creative lawyer. You didn't say what charity.
Yep. Brooks got life for contempt. Yeah. Well, that and he killed a bunch of people.
Yes.
Yeah. that was an interesting trial to watch. Jesus
Yes.
Christ.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. But
As we've got a fair amount of business each day, which we'll try and accomplish. All right. Those are the only two administrative announcements I have for this morning. As I understand it, Ms. Rosenwasser, you have Mr. Panea available. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, we have Mr. Pineda and Investigator Hall. We'll call the investigator first.
Let's call Mr. Pineda first, please. Thank you. All right. Walter Pineda. Mr. Pineda, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
If you would please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you would be so kind to turn and face Deputy Talton to be sworn as a witness, please.
okay, an entirely new
You swear on the affirmative
Daubert
testimony that the court will
expert
truly
with
the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help
I do.
you. You want to take a seat?
Mel Brooks.
Stay and spell your
Understand?
first and last name.
My name is Walter Pineda. Spells excuse me, WLTERPINEDA.
Sir, you can sit down, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pineda.
Good morning.
Mr. Pineda, where are you employed, sir?
I self-employed and I work for a company called Marathon Photo.
Okay. And just so everyone can hear you in the back, I'm going to need you to lean forward and speak into the mic a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And how long have you been employed in that position?
I've been doing video enhancements for almost 30 years.
Okay. And what were you, how were you employed previously?
I was employed by a company called Pinkerton. I went there until the
Oh.
company closed down
Those were in
and
the
I went
news lately.
independently.
And can you tell us a little bit about your educational background?
Did you hear about the Pinkerton doing a house call to a card collector?
Yes, yes. I have a. I as I said it because America's history with the Pinkertons. There's only one way to meet a Pinkerton at the door, and that's with a shotgun. So,
Yeah.
yes.
To show them, look at what nice shotgun I have. Of course.
Oh, yes, yes. And so this guy, I just want to say, so he works for them currently, or did work for the Pinkertons?
Did work for them. Now he's self-employed as a video enhancement guy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I got up. But the Pinkerton, that got my attention. This can be interesting.
I got a degree in professional photography and design.
In 1821.
In your current position, how did you become involved in that line of work?
The company that I was working for, we were taking care of financial institutions, taking care of people that were doing forgeries and bank robberies. So I was able to be trained by the company to be able to get the images that they needed for the person that committed the crime.
And do you have any relevant training or?
The company trained me at the time
Okay,
because back then it was film.
sure. How do you
And
see
then-
it? I'm sorry.
Back then it was film. Then it became video or VHS, CDs, and then hard drives.
Mr. Pineda, how do you stay up to date on your training?
I follow the training on the experience that I have to do the same things on new cases.
Do you have any specific, like, continuing courses that you
Yes,
take?
I do. I became a bilingual interpreter in legal, medical, and educational interpretation.
What does that has to do with
What
the
kind of
video
certifications have you
enhancement?
obtained?
That will be the legal and the medical interpretation certification at UGA.
Approximately how many, video enhancements have you performed over the course of your career?
I
Oh,
would say
that
So-
was interesting. Securitas, or that's a Swedish company
Mm.
or originated in Sweden.
Yeah. Well, what as far as you were asking about the medical and whatnot, that means he's certified to do medical, like enhancements in medical related situations. So he could
Okay.
probably be using like a malpractice situation, or doctors could be like, he could be used. I don't know, maybe Dr. House needs him to read harness. He's not just doing it for criminal things. I think is
Okay.
what he's trying to show, a little bit of diversity.
Okay. Thank you. I knew it was worth to have you on.
Thousands.
Your Honor, at this time, I move to admit state's proposed exhibit 10. May I approach the witness?
All right, has that exhibit already been shown to defense counsel?
Yes, it's been served in discovery.
Right, in discovery?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you may approach the witness.
But his bow tie is tied to what? Oh, doggy!
Mr. Panetta, do you recognize this document?
I don't care.
I do.
What is it?
Doggy.
My resume?
Has there been any alterations or changes to that document?
No, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit state's proposed exhibit 10. Previously served to defense counsel.
Oh.
Any objection to states 10? Purpose of the motion. All right, states 10 is admitted.
His bow tie is fitted to his
Mr.
shirt.
Panetta, have you
It's
been qualified as an
more
expert
short.
before?
What can I
I
say?
do.
What states?
Georgia,
Okay. And what courts?
state,
About how many times would you say?
over 50 times.
Can you describe for the court the method video enhancements are performed?
Yes, I do.
They said the name.
When I get the video,
call him
I
Mel
check the
Hookeye.
image, the quality of the video. When I get to find the image
the
that
dog's
I'm
name.
interested in, I will divide the image or the screen in
that
4
Clyde?
sections, and I will get
Clyde is his
1/4
name,
of
yes.
that section to follow up on the particular
Nobody
image
cares
or
about
interest of the
this
image
anymore.
to
There was a dog
enhance the
in the picture.
video.
What kind of results can be expected from, enhancing video evidence?
The result could be a better view of the evidence given by the prosecution.
Is this type of video enhancement, like you described, just described for the court, have other law and agencies used this type of service?
Yes, they have.
Just prosecution?
Prosecution, defense attorneys, police departments, GVI, and FBI.
Okay. And as far as you know, is it generally accepted?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are there any kind of standards or like control, how video enhancements are performed?
You have to follow a protocol, meaning when you divide the images in 4 sections, that 4 will have to be like, get the first image, and if it's too small, then you go to a bigger image. And if he wants it to be bigger, then you go to a bigger image.
Okay. And that standard that you just described for the court, did you follow those procedures?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What did you enhance in this case?
In this particular case, I enhanced 2 videotapes or 2 videos, one from a parking lot area by a car driving by and a gas station.
Okay. And you did use that standard for the enhancements in this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that that the court qualify Mr. Panetta in forensic video analysis based on his experience, his background, training, and the fact that this is well established.
The forensic video analysis?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anybody wish to voir dire the witness?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Adams.
Thank you. On behalf of Mr. Williams. Mr. Pineda, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You can hear me okay?
Yes, I do.
All right. I want to ask you a few questions, please, about the work that you've done and what you just testified to. And if you don't understand the question, please let me know and I'll be happy to rephrase, okay?
I will.
You indicated you've been qualified as an expert previously
Yes, I have.
in the state courts here in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And you've been qualified in what field or in what particular category specifically?
Video analysis and video enhancements.
Now, you stated earlier, I want to ask you some questions about the protocol that you referenced. The state asked you whether or not there is a particular protocol that you follow in regards to video enhancement. Could you describe for us what that protocol actually is, please?
The protocol is to follow up the section in which I'm involved to enhance, meaning I have to divide the screen in 4 sections. That 1/4 of the sections, I follow up the same size, the images in which are being involved on the video analysis.
All right. So that's a description apparently of what you actually do in terms of video enhancement.
Yes, it is.
But in terms of the protocol, are those protocols recorded anywhere? They're written protocols that govern exactly how you enhance a
The
video.
protocol is involved in the images given to the prosecution.
Okay.
Every detail is given to them in every folder, tells you a description of what it was done to that particular image.
Okay. So would I be correct in that what you're saying is that when you forward what you consider to be the enhanced video to the prosecution, you have instructions or you're telling them exactly what you did to enhance that video?
I did not write anything to that matter. I just let them see and see for themselves for what I have done.
But in terms of when I say protocol, are there any written protocol from any agencies, any organizations that talks about the best practices for video enhancment that you
No.
are aware of?
So
There
no
are none.
science. Just
Not that I'm aware
experience.
of.
Okay. Are you aware of whether there are any publications that make reference to the mechanism that you use, the protocol that you use, any publications that you would look to in regards to video
No.
Did
enhancement?
Amber Heard go to
None.
that school? Apparently not.
You referenced earlier in your testimony that the video enhancement is used by other agencies. Are you familiar with whatever protocols are used by those agencies in video enhancement?
They don't use any protocols for me to use, no.
Okay.
That wasn't a question.
You responded to one of the prosecutor's questions earlier. He asked you whether or not you know if the standard of video enhancement or the practice of video enhancement that you utilize, whether or not it is, quote, generally accepted. And you said it is.
Yes, it is.
Do you know by what agencies or what entities that protocol is generally accepted by?
It has been accepted in the Cobb County, Fulton County, and Gwinnett County.
Okay. And when you're responding to it being accepted, are you talking about it has been used in those counties? Video enhancements has been used in those counties. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see where he's actually answering the questions here. If it's generally accepted has nothing to do if it's accepted in Fulton court or that court. General acceptance for me is it a nationwide or international standard of scientific?
Yes, but I understand this idea. I mean, just generally accepted. I mean, every state though has their own standards as part of the issue here.
Okay.
So they all use Daubert. They might call it different things state by state by state. But you would start out by saying, is it recognized here in the state of Georgia or the state of Ohio? Because that's really what matters. The fact that
Okay.
But I understand. I understand from your, typically when you're dealing with more technical stuff, standard and recognized. Yeah, there's the international standards. And you could point those out that if he's not, if I know there's international standards or, film editor experts and film associations. I know we talked about this, I think in the Johnny Depp trial, well, actually not the Johnny Depp trial, but there are, international organizations you can belong to, like film editors, things like that. You could say, well, hey, these guys exist. You're not following the rules. And, you could bring that up then, but there are standards per your jurisdiction.
Okay.
And that's where you have to go.
I
hope that made sense.
Are we getting drunk? Or are we already? I haven't started yet because I have it's 3 hours until Jeff's stream is ongoing, and I'm trying not to be totally wasted before that. But there might be a beer or two involved.
All right, thank you, sir. I have no further questions for this witness.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Mr. Weinstein, you can go third. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sudi Chakri, minutes on behalf of Mr. Dorsey. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Now, what was your name again?
Walter Pineda.
Mr. Pineda, how are you?
Fine.
All right. So we spoke a little bit about the way that you develop your expertise, what you claim to be your expertise. And you said you used to enhance tape back in the day, right?
Film.
Film. And then film developed into VHS. Is that right? And then CDs. Is that right?
Correct.
And now they're hard drives.
Correct.
Okay. So now, is it fair to say that technology has changed drastically?
Yes.
Have you received any training as it comes to the new technology that is used nowadays in the video recording?
I have not.
Okay.
But the last time that I worked for Pinkerton, we already were using hard drives.
But you haven't been trained formally by any agency or any education from any school?
They don't have anything available for that.
All right. Now, when the state...
I'm quite sure there are schools for video enhancement. Maybe not in a legal matter, but that sounds...
Could you rewind that actually? Because I kind of want to hear how he phrased that, because it's not necessarily you go to school for video enhancement, but maybe video editing and production.
As it comes to the new technology that is used nowadays in the video recording?
I have not.
Okay.
But the last time that I worked for Pinkerton, we already were using hard drives.
Ah, so
but you
he's
haven't
never
been trained formally by any agency or any education from any school?
They don't have anything available for that.
All right.
See, that's not true. That's not true. He could go to school for film production, film editing, anything involving, filmmaking, and he, graphic design, graphic arts, all that stuff. He would learn how to operate, like the Adobe, it's not Photoshop, but it's whatever I forget what it's called for Adobe when it involves video. There's all kinds of things you can do and learn. Yeah. Now, just say I've kept abreast of the industry, but for him to say like there's nothing there, that's kind of a bullshit answer to me. Sorry.
Yeah. No. That was my reaction too for it, because interesting. Let's see if the young lawyer, because there is the lawyer who got himself into trouble, I believe, is next to ask questions.
Okay, now, good. I'm looking forward to it.
When the state asked you, did you receive any further training? Your response was that you have gotten training as a bilingual interpreter and as a medical interpretation. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. And those things have absolutely nothing to do with video enhancement. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
You don't need to speak Spanish to be able to enhance a video.
Correct.
Now, you describe the way that you do it, but you have not told us if that is the way that everybody else does it. Is that right?
I don't know how everybody else does it, but the way I do it, that's the way I've been doing it for years.
Okay. And do you have a bachelor's degree?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you have any type of education with IT?
I don't have.
Okay. Do you have an associate's degree?
No, I don't.
Do you have a high school degree?
I have a high school. Yes, I have a high school degree and I have a diploma on professional photography and design.
All right. Where did you get your diploma on professional photography?
Southeastern Center for the Photographic Arts.
And when did you get that?
Brandon?
I got that in 1987.
1987. Has the technology that was used in 1987 changed drastically to the technology used, say, from 2010 to 2022?
I believe so.
Have you been trained in that new technology by any formal education agency?
No, I have not.
Now, when you say that you have testified over 50 times, is that right?
More than 50 times, yes, sir.
And when was the last time that you testified?
I testified over probably about 6 months ago in DeKalb County.
DeKalb County, okay. Now, have you also said that you have testified for the defense sometimes, is that right?
Yes, I have.
How many times out of those 50 plus times?
I would say more than 10 times.
About 10 times, okay. Now, when you enhance these videos, you describe as you break it up into 4 sections. Is that right?
No, I break it up into 4 sections and use only one section.
Okay, and when you break it up into that 4 sections and use that one section, what do you do with that one section?
That one section follow up on the images involved on that particular event. So I get all the images involved. Let's see if the person is going by. I capture every single event of the person going in front of the camera.
But other than freeze framing the video, what do you actually do? What is the process to, as you say, enhance these images?
All I do is get closer, and if the image is too noisy, you reduce the noise out.
Is that
Brandon?
something that I could do if I had the right software
so
to get
much.
it done?
You can do it if it's up to you, yes.
So any layperson that has the right software
He
could
just
go
does
ahead and
pinch
do
and
that.
If they
zoom.
will have the experience, they want to do it.
He
Literally, he just goes like this, boop, despeckle. That is not your, that is,
How can he? And he's been testifying
this is
six
boom,
months.
and he's put people in prison. This is boomer, this is a boomer expert. I just zoom in on it. I bet he still has an AOL address.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I can see how I can't see how a prosecutor even wants him on. If that's it. That a cop can do that. Right? I hope. Well, you never know, but
Yeah, I mean, little kids could do this.
I have a 3-year-old. No, she's 5 now. 5-year-old niece. She knows more about these things than I do.
Yes. Yeah, let's just pinch the zoom.
Pinch and zoom.
This is
Okay. The prosecution are bringing in the big dogs and real experts to this RICO case. Way.
It's up to them.
But so you don't have to have a degree or any level of expertise to actually do that.
Correct.
And is it fair to say that sometimes some careers just with technology advancement just become obsolete?
Not this particular one. I mean, I've been doing it for 30 years.
Then how come are you moonlighting as an interpreter as well?
No.
Okay, so how come you haven't gotten any further training as to the technology?
Because people have not using video technology as much as they used to do it in the past.
Okay. Has anybody ever reviewed your work? Has there ever been any peer review of the work that you do?
I'm not aware of. I mean, the only thing is give the evidence to the prosecution or to defense, to the police department, and they're satisfied with it, and they are.
What is the name of the software that you use?
I use a software called Photoshop.
Photoshop, that's the one I can get in the Apple Store.
I mean, it's up to you.
I called it. I called it. And Nick, I respect your stream enough. I'm not gonna swear, but I called it.
Yeah, you called it.
I effing called it.
I can almost bet money he's using the free version as well.
Oh, most definitely. See, I pay for I pay for a cheaper version, but that's because I can write it off of my taxes. Because I only use it for my thumbnails.
Well, I have write-offs too, but I use what's it called? Canva. It's an online thing.
Yeah, I use Canva too every once in a while. But yeah, this is just, oh my gosh.
How can he be on the stand and proudly say
and these prosecutors that were sitting there at the table, they were younger. They're not old people.
Yeah.
I mean, who on the state side has, and like, I'm not a technology guy, but I know enough that I would have sat there and said, because I've been in, I was an assistant prosecutor for a couple of years. You know, and there were some times where we had a technology issue or something. I brought up like, hey, you could do this or you can do that. And I talked to the detective, like, there's this kind of program, like, you know, that can be used to do things with. And just nobody sat there and said, wow, this sounds like crap. This is sad.
Yeah.
He's probably still going to be held as an admissible witness, though.
Yeah. As of the trials I have seen so far, I've yet to see an expert not being admitted. This one, I wouldn't. Nowhere near. Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Mr. Panea, Mr. Panea,
Yes, sir.
over here. How many video enhancements have you done over the course of 30 years? Just ballpark.
I would say over 500.
Over 500? Okay.
500 in 30 years.
Next.
That is not a high number.
It's
That's
still a lot.
Doug Weinstein for Mr. Kendrick. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
You were saying that you're not aware of any organizations that certify video enhancement technicians. Is that correct?
I don't.
Are you familiar with the International Association of Identification?
No, sir.
Are you aware that they have certifications?
I sustain the objection.
Okay.
Remember, it's knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education, okay?
Are you certified by them as a forensic video technician?
No.
Are you certified by them for forensic photography?
No.
Are you familiar with the paper by the Scientific Working Group on Imaging Technology that lays out guidelines for following imaging
No.
techniques? So according to their guidelines, you're supposed to keep a documented record of the techniques that you use. Do you keep a documented record of what you do?
I don't.
It also states that you should have peer review of your work. Is there peer review of your work?
I don't know. I don't know who has reviewed it.
I'm sorry, could you say that
I
again?
said I don't know who has reviewed it. No, I don't.
Are there others in your company that review your work?
No. I work independently, sir.
The guidelines also state that there should be annual training. Do you participate in any annual training?
I have not.
Gentlemen, object to their last question. Witness testified he's not familiar with the guidelines.
I asked if he participated in annual training.
Training, that's different. I'll overrule the objection.
Have you undergone any competency testing?
No.
I'm not sure if the stream is choppy. I do have a bit of an issue of an unstable Wi-Fi, but that shouldn't affect more than, so to speak, my image. Sounds great, not cutting out for me. Did you borrow this guy's dial-up? No. Out here where I am, I don't have fiber. So I'm relying on mobile broadband.
A moose is rubbing up against the cell tower.
And we did have a thunderstorm running by. But it looks good for GG.
Yeah, everything's been fine on my end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's keep going. I can understand if me personally, but I'm sending my image to StreamYard. So me in this mug, yeah, that might be a bit choppy, but the video is from YouTube to StreamYard, that shouldn't be affected. But you never know. Yeah.
The guidelines also specify that there should be proficiency testing. Have you had any proficiency testing?
No.
The guidelines also state that there should be standard operating procedures for image enhancement. Do you have a set of standard operating procedures that you follow?
I do.
And what are those standard operating procedures?
Like I told you before, I follow up the way that I always do it in every single enhanced video that I work in.
And are those standard operating procedures written down somewhere?
No, sir.
So
Something I learned through the years.
Okay.
Your technique for image processing
I know
involves breaking
it
the
was
image
talking in
up
the
into
beginning.
4, can I say quadrants? Is that fair?
Correct.
When you analyze those quadrants, do you do that in the spatial domain or the frequency domain?
The frequency domain means the frame that I obtain out, in which is highlighted. So I follow that by every single image that I'm working in.
This attorney knows his shit.
I'm not sure that you followed the question. Sir, do you know what frequency domain processing is?
Not specifically, no. But
Do you know what, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, finish your answer, please.
No, go ahead.
Sir, do you know what spatial domain processing is?
The spatial is the space, I think, is the space in which you are involved according to the images on the monitor.
Do you know the circumstances where you should use spatial domain processing?
No, I don't.
Do you know the circumstances where you should use frequency domain processing?
No, I don't.
Boomer. Boomer. He's been doing this as long as I've
When
been
you're
alive.
seeking
pretty much.
information from the image, do you know when it's appropriate to use spatial domain processing versus frequency domain processing?
I'm
Your
not familiar
email.
with that.
Your email.
I stand the objection.
Could you rewind that last little bit? That got sustained. I don't know. Sorry, just rewind it like 10 seconds. Sorry.
No, no worries.
Domain processing versus frequency domain processing?
I'm not familiar with that.
I stand the objection.
You should be able to ask that question.
And the last question, sir, is your particular processing technique. Do you have any publications?
No, sir.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anybody else? Couple means two. Don't lie to me, okay? So, go ahead.
I haven't done Photoshop in ages, but it seems if he's doing this in Photoshop, is he doing screenshots who he then transports to Photoshop to then?
I think so. I think so. This is just seriously, people have gone to prison because of this guy. This is disgusting.
Porcelain Thunder, Photoshop is not certified for forensic photographic analysis.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just, oh my gosh.
But 6 months ago, he was testifying in a neighboring jurisdiction or court. So apparently in Georgia, this is still acceptable in some places.
Well, here's the thing. He's probably never been challenged like that as part of the issue. So that's part of the problem here. Nobody's ever challenged him like that. So that's why he's now just looking like an idiot. It's because he hasn't been challenged hard. And now it's all falling apart.
Oh, this was his last independent job. Well, you never know.
Now, I just had a few questions. So, do you ever compare one of your enhanced videos to a video of the same thing but of higher quality to see if your enhancement actually made it look enhanced?
If you're telling me about a video from 10 years ago and a video right now for 4K, you will see the difference. From 10 years ago, it's very grainy. from today's, it's very clear. I can see your freckles. I can see your eyelashes.
Okay, it's true though. I don't have freckles though, do I?
Oh,
Okay, but what I was really asking you is, have you ever taken maybe a HD camera and videotaped something, and then taken a non-HD video camera and videotape the same thing, and then supposedly enhance the non-HD one so we can compare the two and see if your work actually makes any difference at all?
yes, I have.
Okay, and how many times have you done that?
That's 'cause, like I said one time, 10 years ago, I used VHS cameras.
One-time quality
Today, I
control.
have myself a new camcorder, 4K. So you can see the difference. I did not take the same thing, but when you do the close-ups or the enhancements of it, you can see the difference and the details on the image.
Okay, and did you record that anywhere, the accuracy
No,
of
I
that?
didn't record it.
And that was 10 years ago?
No, I did the video on 4K not too long ago and the VHS years ago.
Okay, and then you said you use Photoshop to enhance the images?
Yes, sir.
And it's also true that Photoshop can be used to alter images?
Yes, it can be used, but I haven't.
Okay, and how are we supposed to tell, besides taking your word for it, that you haven't altered any images?
You tell me which one I have done, and then I'll respond to it.
Okay, so just your responses.
If you have something that I've done that is being altered by me, you let me know.
Okay, and then once we let you know, what's going to happen next?
I don't know.
Basis. Relevance.
Your Honor, it goes to his direct previous question.
As to in terms of what? What previous
Like
question?
how we're,
How would
the
we
general
know?
question still hasn't been answered, but how are we going to know whether one of his
Yeah.
work product items has been altered in
Is that an
Photoshop?
issue in this case?
Yeah.
You think that he's altered one of the documents or altered it?
No, Your Honor, credibility is always at issue. And
That's
so,
weight. That doesn't go to the things that I'm the gatekeeper, remember? So
Mhm.
part of that is, do you have something that would indicate to me that he should be disqualified because he's altered something? I don't think there's been anything in terms of foundation.
Your Honor, my point would be that if there isn't a way to know whether he's altered it or not, that goes to the weight and the credibility.
Well, that's a determination for the jury to make.
Yeah, but that goes towards his.
Of course, I'll make an initial threshold under Daubert.
But under Daubert, though, that goes towards your argument of the quality control is a scientific, that he doesn't have the before and the after, the compare and contrast. I think he's also trying to squeeze this in. Yes, that well, how do we know you didn't screw it? That yes, that's for the jury to judge credibility and weight. But I think he could have made the argument. I understand his argument, though. He's trying to say this is not. He should have just said, Your Honor, this goes to scientificness. Do scientists do this crap? But I understand his argument there. That was really good. But the judge is right that this is the gate. This is not the stage of credibility yet.
And let's go, Brandon. So, did you see my last super chat? I have one for $2. That's the only one I have. If you're not pulling my leg here. No, that's the one I have. It was this was the long-haired lawyer earlier. Can this lawyer get me some Colombian Bam Bam? Well, there was a case I heard about this on your Laid Back News appearance. A case where a lawyer just before trial tried to get drugs from his clients. That was a great choice.
I remember hearing about this when I was an intern in law school. I interned in a district attorney's office, and the guy told me they were doing a trial, and this attorney, the defense attorney in this trial, ended up going to prison for coke trafficking later. But part of the trial involved these massive bricks of cocaine that had been shoved into the dashboard of this car to transport him. And when the detective reached back and grabbed him out of the bag at trial and started placing him on the table for the prosecutor to start introducing the evidence, he said the defense attorney's eyes just were staring at him like he was about to just lose it. And he said, I could almost see his mouth watering. So no, that's not uncommon. Attorneys do a lot of drugs.
There, I believe, except from maybe doctors, lawyers are in high grade functioning alcoholics. Yeah, because we see and hear crap. Test? No, can't possibly be Brandon. $2. Yeah, I see it, but I don't see a $5 anywhere in the chat. If it is, sorry, I can try to look in my studio and see if I have received one. There, view. Yeah, it's shown here in my studio. Let's go, Brandon. $5. Do you boys know how to process a beer? Well, yeah. I don't know why it didn't show up here. But yeah, I'm sure we both know how to process a beer. And now you got me wanting a beer. I'll continue to play this, and I'll grab myself a beer. Actually,
I'll get myself one in a second as well.
The relevancy issue is kind of waning, so move on.
Okay. So apart from asking you and you answering, we don't have any way to know whether or not you've altered images in Photoshop.
It's up to the person to decide, not mine.
Okay. And what person do you mean?
It could be you, it could be the jury. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
Anybody else? Any other defense attorneys?
What?
Okay, all right.
Your Honor, do we want to also
What?
qualify him as an expert in bilingual language interpretation? Say that he's into that.
That's not what you're here for. You know, that's
did something happen? Did I miss anything? I can't hear you.
Sorry, you should rewind this last little bit. Oh my god.
Okay.
Also, Renee, it's Daubert, Daubert. It's called Daubert if you're not educated. It's Daubert. It's a Daubert hearing. Daubert. So.
Okay, I'll go back here.
Have any way to know whether or not you've altered images in Photoshop?
It's up to the person to decide, not mine.
Okay. And what person do you mean?
It could be you, it could be the jury. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
anybody else? Any other defense attorneys? Okay, all right.
Your Honor, do we want to also move to qualify him as an expert in bilingual language interpretation?
What?
Say that he's into that.
That's not what you're here for. You know, that's not what he's here for.
I'm trying to make him here for that for a trial for my own reasons.
Well, you need to subpoena him and pay him. Okay, and then maybe he'll show up, but don't try to circumvent the process. There's a way to subpoena witnesses and everything else, and you want to qualify him as a bilingual. If you have a separate need and employment, then I'll let you do that off kind of at your discretion and your leisure, okay? But that's not the time to do it now.
Wait a minute. Did the young lawyer try to get him to, or was it the problem?
Yes, use him as a language expert. Now that's not what he's up there for, and the judge is trying to say, if you want in an expert, you bring in your own expert. And you know, if that had been part of what the state was offering him for, then he might get thrown in there. But that's, yeah, the judge kind of stomped that quickly. But I just love his response of, well, it's not for me to decide who did things. It's for you to decide if I change stuff around.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Who? Yeah, I heard that. Who can peer review? Yeah, you can. The jury can. That's not peer review. Not even by U.S. court standard peer review.
No.
That's and I'm not. I don't believe that U.S. court are using the words peer review as it should be.
Mhm.
Because peer review means that someone independent from you controls your finished work. But in US court, it is more or less two medical examiners who work together who cross-check each other's work.
Well,
That's called peer review.
That's some peer review, yes. But also there's, when they talk about his peer review and his publications, though, the academic review as well. But yeah, no, because otherwise, though, to be fair, there really isn't peer review in that sense where you've got a million medical examiners who can run around and audit each other all the time. So there are kind of limits to peer review.
And tweet to US News member for 1 month writing, making sure that I don't waste my milestone chat. Okay, thank you. It was not wasted. Thank you so much. Let's go, Brandon. Niklas and Sean, you won't chug a beer, you cowards.
I still have to have dinner and be sociable with my missus, so I will do that tonight when I'm on with Jeff. Brandon, I'll owe you one for that.
I'm not good at.
I'm a man of my word. I will take care of that tonight, but I just want to be sociable with my missus for a little while. But I've always gotten you before. I've always squared up with you.
I'm not good at chugging beer. I need to breathe sometimes too. That's an issue in my life. I need air.
Yes, we all do. It's an issue for everybody.
Now we have roughly 40 minutes before we are changing this to the more casual Finally Friday. So let's get through this one. Maybe a bit into.
I know, but that just fills out what he's been doing the past 30 years, okay? In terms of what he has done, additional education he's gotten. You've already kind of examined him about that. It has nothing to do with video enhancement. It's just another skill set that he has.
Oh, you
okay?
sure?
But it's not relevant for the inquiry that he's making right now. All right? All right?
Mr. Pineda, how many times have you been qualified as an expert? Objection, asked and answered.
I sustain the objection. He said over 50 times.
Mr. Matthews.
Carlton Matthews.
And say the objection.
Ask and answer.
Thank you.
And I sustain the objection. Christine has been asked and answered. He said he testified over 50 times.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
No, I have not.
Has he ever been challenged like this before?
No.
Apparently not. Disqualified.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you.
Did they qualify him? How the actual? Or maybe they want to qualify him at this stage, but then at trial, can they do a voir dire at trial if they have a Daubert hearing pre-trial?
No. You do the Daubert stuff outside of the jury's presence anyway, because you're going to bring up things that their qualifications like that about. Do you understand the frequency? Oh, that crap I just don't remember anymore. You do that all outside the jury's presence. This voir diring of him like this, he'll be admitted as an expert, but they're going to have to lay the foundation to show his knowledge still. So it doesn't change a whole lot. It's just the picking and digging at him won't be able to go forward unless they can show like. So the one attorney's like, but you just use Photoshop, right? It's just pinch and zoom. I can do it on my computer, right? We don't have the original to compare. Have you ever compared and contrasted your work? How many times? Like they could go down that road with that stuff and really just show his credibility, his shot, and the weight of the evidence he's presenting is destroyed. But it limits there is a limit to what you can bring up outside of this. It's kind of like a suppression hearing. You do it, beforehand, so it's done.
So more or less, the defense can use the knowledge from here to destroy him at trial.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe that's why they still want to admit him as an expert for that very reason.
Well, no, because you really wouldn't want to do that. You when it comes to trial, you want to leave them without anything. So give it you wouldn't tactically put this guy up there to embarrass him. You would want him struck as an expert. That way the state can't use whatever they've enhanced.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can say, look, they don't have anything they can enhance. You can't tell what that is. And the jury never gets to know because the prosecutor can't come up and say in a closing argument, well, we tried to bring this guy in, but he got kicked out because it wasn't credible.
All right. Any argument on this particular witness before I go ahead and make a decision? Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. Just very briefly on behalf of Mr. Williams, the issue before the court is whether or not he should be qualified as, if I'm correct, I think
that didn't make sense.
The state is moving to qualify him as a forensic video analyst. Did I get that correct?
Yes, sir. Forensic video analysis.
I would say to the court, Your Honor, based clearly upon the responses to the questions put before this witness, and in consideration of the Daubert standard and Rule 702, that this witness is clearly not qualified under that standard. I would just state the court knows the law, so I will just say that under the Daubert standard, we look towards relevance and reliability of the witness's testimony. Putting aside the relevance, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about reliability of the technique of the proffer testimony that would be offered. And although 702 and Daubert is somewhat flexible, it's geared towards scientific validity and the principles that underlie a proposed submission. In this case, a video enhancement. We don't look towards the conclusion. We look towards the principles and the methodology, and we look towards whether or not there's been a testing of the experts, the proffered experts theory. There has not been. We look for whether or not there's been publication in support of the expert's method or theory. There's no testimony that there has been any of that. We look towards, the court is advised under Daubert to look towards.
What about his education? Because that's kind of the issue.
What
for
education?
Me. So we want to talk about that. His experience, I should say. He's been doing this 30 years. So
education and experiences are factors that the court can look to as well. But and I heard the witness testify that he has testified in regards to video enhancements upwards of 50 times. Those 50 testimonies could all have been improper. They could have been wrong because the methodology has to be tested. They could all very well have been done under the Harper standard, which is no longer the law in the state of Georgia. The question before the court is whether or not this witness meets the Daubert requirements. And I would say to the court that simply looking at the responses to the questions, both on direct and on cross, or on voir dire, that he does not. That the witnesses testified that there are no protocols to the methodology used by him. He is unable to indicate whether or not his method or his methodology is generally accepted. There is no peer review. It's not just that he doesn't know if there's any peer review. There is no peer review of his methodology. There is no testimony as to the error rate of his methodology. Under all of those factors, he fails, or this witness fails in terms of being able to be qualified as an expert. Now, I ask the court to deny the state's request to qualify this gentleman as an expert.
all right, anybody wish to add to Mr. Adams? What he is, don't regurgitate, but just add if you've got anything to that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
On behalf of Mr. Eppinger, Your Honor, the court pointed out the education and experience in this particular case. The witness testified that he had performed almost 500 of these video analysis over 30 years. That breaks down to less than 2 per month over the past 30 years. He also testified that he does not have any formal education or no continuing education with regards to these things over the past 30 years. Those are 2 things that he directly testified to. He has not shown that he has the requisite experience in this particular matter to be qualified as an expert, and as such, neither the education, Your Honor. So we believe that under Daubert, he should not be qualified as an expert. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay, all right. Looking at 24-7-702, testimony by expert witnesses.
I haven't seen this. What do you think, Sean? Muted.
Judges are little girls at times, and as much as this guy's been like throwing his weight around, he's gonna let him in.
What do you think, chat? In or out? In, 1 for in, 2 for out. It's a RICO case, so it's everything.
Yes, crime. Somebody also said that's a 1980s courtroom. Oh my God, good Lord, no, that is a beautiful courtroom. That's a fairly new courtroom. I mean, I could show you there's some dumps of courtrooms I've been in. So, but I'm gonna go grab a beer. Brandon, you've convinced me. So
it's even between ones and twos, maybe a bit more twos. Yeah, but let's listen and see what he does.
B, if scientific, technical, or other specialized knowledge will assist the trier of fact to understand the evidence or determine a fact and issue, a witness qualifies as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education may testify thereto in the form of an opinion or otherwise. Before I forgot, state wish to be heard in terms of argument, in terms of the.
Yes, Your Honor, if the court would mind.
Sure, I don't mind. No.
Your Honor, so I want to be clear that what we're basing our request to qualify this gentleman as an expert is in the video enhancement, the forensic video enhancement, and we are just referring to that older video. The video is from 2015, so I want to start with that. Additionally, Your Honor, although Mr. Adams correctly stated to Daubert, obviously after Daubert we have Kumho-Tyre, and Kumho-Tyre explains how we can qualify these experts when it's not that scientific process, when it's not that straightforward. Here's a GBI witness, here's what they do, here's a scientific method. Kumho-Tyre provides us an avenue to qualify experts based on experience. And this is going to be something that the court's probably going to hear a lot about with our next witness as well. But basically, with experts like this, the 11th Circuit, and I'd like to point to the 11th Circuit because in Rule 702, obviously this being a new rule to criminal law in Georgia, the legislature has directed us to look to not only the 11th Circuit, but also to all federal courts. But I'll start with the 11th Circuit. United States versus Augustin, that's a 2011 case out of the 11th Circuit, and I can provide all the sites for the court if the court would like me to. In that case, the 11th Circuit said, we note that Federal Rule of Evidence 702 does not define an expert in a narrow sense. And in this case, they were qualifying a gang expert. And the court said, in light of the substantial experience that Agent Young had with respect to street gangs, we conclude that the district court was within its discretion in determining that the agent was qualified to give expert testimony. And this is something that happens a lot. The 11th Circuit, and this is another case out of the 11th Circuit, a 2015 case called United States versus Wilson. In United States versus Wilson, the court held that because a Daubert inquiry must be tied to particular facts of the case, the actual Daubert factors, the ones that Mr. Adams referenced, those Daubert factors may or may not be pertinent in assessing reliability depending on the nature of the issue, the expert's particular expertise, and the subject of the testimony. As such, a district court maintains the same kind of latitude in deciding how to test an expert's reliability and to decide whether or when special briefing or other proceedings are needed to investigate reliability, as it enjoys when it decides whether or not an expert's testimony is reliable.
Okay, but here's the thing I want you to focus on for me, Ms. Rosenwasser. That is, you're asking me to court to qualify him as a forensic video, an expert in the area of forensic video analysis. He's not certified by a national accrediting body,
Boom.
Which is something that there is an entity or an organization that does provide certification for that particular type of analysis. He has no annual training, and his competency hasn't been tested. So the principles and methodology are something that the court has to kind of has to really kind of look at in this case. He's got 30 years of experience, yes, but there are other things that Daubert requires me to look at in terms of a gatekeeping function. You're asking me to qualify him as a forensic examiner. That's different. If he had some of those other things, other like certifications, I wouldn't have so much of a problem. Convince me that otherwise, because it looks like from looking at, under Daubert and 702, testimony is based on sufficient facts or data. The testimony is a product of reliable principles and methods, and the witnesses apply those principles and methods reliably to the facts of the case, which have or will be admitted in evidence before the trier of fact. So I have great discretion, of course, and it's abuse of discretion for whatever my ruling is.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm trying to ask you, given those issues of not being certified by a national body, which there is one, no annual training, and that's just 3, and then there's no competency or testing. So tell me why I should, I should look to, and I've read Kumo. I know about Kumo. Kumo goes hand in hand. That it for the non-scientific folks, it lets the courts kind of use that gatekeeping function, because part of the gatekeeping function, am I citing Wilson versus Redmond Construction? It's 359 Georgia Appeals 814. It's a 2021 case, and I have to make this gatekeeping function requires me to act as a gatekeeper to ensure speculative and unreliable opinions don't reach the jury. As a gatekeeper, the court must do a preliminary assessment of the reasoning and methodology underlying the testimony is scientifically valid, and whether that reasoning or methodology can properly be applied to facts in this case. And so the trouble I have is you want me to qualify him as forensic. So forensic indicates to the court that there's some level of training, expertise, certification, peer review, or something to that effect.
So, Your Honor, I was wondering if I could amend my co-counsel's request. If we could qualify him only in the expert in the very limited field of video enhancement.
I would do that.
That's what we would like to have, Your Honor.
I would do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Adams, and I'm going to overrule your. I mean, I hear you.
Okay, so he limited it to video enhancement. So he's an expert in pinch and enhance.
That's still, I still think.
That's
still
stretching.
Bull. But I think that, they've got a lot they can beat him up on. So
yeah. But I'm amazed that anything he did, a cop could do.
Anything he did, I could do.
Yeah. Yeah. I can also screen grab, put in Photoshop, and then
I'll put my Photoshop on right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, he wasn't in as a forensic expert. So maybe it was a mix of 1 and 2, because he wasn't let in as the prosecution wanted. But he was still let in as a pinch and enhance guy. Yeah, I'm not a bartender, but I can mix rum and coke. So I'm an expert in mixing rum and coke. So, yeah. Dirk Giggler says, I've passed gas for over 40 years, but I'm not a fart expert. Oh, yeah. Well, he's in. We will see him at trial, unless he turns 95 soon and chooses not to.
I'll hear your issue, but I believe he is qualified in that particular area of video enhancement. But forensic, I will not qualify him in that.
Your Honor, for purposes of perfecting the record, and
yes,
on behalf of Mr. Williams, we would take exception to the court's rule in that regard. Our argument essentially would be that the same arguments in regards to Daubert and 702 that we proffered previously would apply to whether he's being qualified as a forensic analyst or a video enhancer.
Protect that record.
We believe that these statements and the evidence that's been put forth so far do not meet the requirements of Daubert or 702, even under this newly proffered expertise.
Well,
apparently video enhancement in this court is take a screen grab of a video, put it in Photoshop, then do a pinch and grab, pinch and enhance. That's video enhancement in this court. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's it though. They're doing a good job. It's still objecting to this, but
I'll of course professionally disagree with you. I think that from the court's listening to his testimony.
Well, Neumeister in the depth we heard did not have a relevant degree because he more or less invented the area.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can be, the daddy of that subject field, but in his case, he's like, no, he's not the guy who figured out, screen interpolation. We learned from the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, the whole idea of interpolation, where it's the pixels are being filled in generated by the AI. So it's actually the AI creating an exhibit. So it's not even the same exhibit that when every time you zoom, you're actually creating a new exhibit every time, which is entirely different from, there is a big difference there. And this guy clearly wasn't the dude. He's not, because if he's at the forefront, he'd be like, I've been in all these organizations. I give lectures. I teach people how to do this. I've been peer reviewed. If you're Daddy Big Wiener, that's how that goes. If you're not, then you're just, this guy's just been bumming it up for 30 years.
Yeah.
And when he was working for Pinkerton, there's probably PI work he was involved with. So.
Yeah, and I'm not aware if Pinkerton often brings things to court.
Well, if they were hired by a party, they would. Madge, you're right. Interpolation is not AI, but I mean, the program fills in and decides what's going to be there on pixels. But if he had been truly the guy developing it, he could say, yes, I teach, I certify, I train, I'm peer reviewed. He hasn't done any of that. So if he's not the guy who came up with it, he should be able to be educated and learn. It's just like an attorney, stay up on it. What's your continuing education? And he has none of that. So.
Whoops, sorry.
So you
don't breathe and drink coffee at the same time.
Oh, I understand. Advice. I agree.
Yeah. But Mr. Pineda's testimony, he's been doing this for 30 years. There is a methodology that he follows, the 4-part division. That certainly he followed that in this particular case. I think that would be helpful to the jury in this particular matter. So it's different than being a forensic, because then forensic, I should say, video analysis. So I'll respectfully overrule or note your objection for the record.
And ask for continued objection, of course.
All right.
And on behalf of Mr. Stillwell, who's directly affected by this evidence as well, we will join in Mr. Adams' argument and adopt all of his arguments.
Okay, if you're not, Mr. Harvey did you all a favor yesterday, okay? Yeah. Unless there's something else, then I'm going to assume that everybody's going to have the same objection or same basis, okay? So, and continuing objection. Yes, Ms. Sharp.
John, can I just add something?
Sure.
On behalf of Mr. Myers?
Yes.
I understand the court's ruling, but it's still, his methodology has not been tested. And that's the additional thing that I would add. It hasn't been tested, it hasn't been peer reviewed, hasn't been tested. We have no idea whether or not this methodology, the way that he does it.
Under Kumu, have you taken a look at Kumu Tire?
I did, Judge.
526 U.S. 137, 1999. Okay, and that allows the court to look at other factors for, non-scientific, and this is non-scientific. It's more so It's more so
Scientific,
like not like
expertise
chemistry,
and
biology, physics, that kind of thing that can be tested, that can be that there's either a right or a wrong answer. So I'm required under Kumu to go ahead and at least if I can look at the other factors in terms of the subject matter of his testimony and expertise, reliability. I'll note your objection for the record, okay? All right.
But Your Honor, Kumu-Tire doesn't apply here. This is scientific analysis that he's doing. I don't understand what can be more scientific than using Fourier transforms, discrete cosine transforms. You're taking it into a different domain.
No, you are, because you're adding things that haven't been testified to.
He testified that he doesn't know.
Okay, and that goes to weight and sufficiency. Well, in terms of, it can go to weight and sufficiency. I have a gatekeeping function, but beside that, you're welcome on cross to take him to task on any of that.
But your gatekeeping function ensures that methods, analysis that doesn't follow reliable, established standards doesn't get in front of the jury. And this gentleman, while he's been doing it for a long time, is not following the methodology that's established in this industry. He's using his own method.
The Daubert factors, I'm quoting out of Kumu, Daubert factors do not constitute a definite checklist or test, and the gatekeeping inquiry must be tied to particular facts. So, particular facts are, he enhances, he blows this thing up into divides it into 4 parts, and he can testify about that. You're welcome to go ahead, and he's been doing that for 30 years. And certainly the types of videography has changed over that particular period of time. That's what he's going to testify to. You all certainly, there are issues of weight and credibility that I'm sure that you'll go ahead and examine him on. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. All right, Mr. Johnson, anything else?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's go, Brandon, for another $2. Guy is definitely as qualified as Stephen James. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is, Sean?
Who? Stephen LeJane. I don't remember. Huh. But no, I think the attorney in the back is right. This guy is completely just a hack.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the judge is like, well, you could cross-examine him. It's like, you shouldn't even have let him in. But yeah, but this is where, it's it's horseshit. He was Kim Potter's defense expert. Oh. No, I thought the one guy who wasn't qualified was the prosecution expert in the Kim Potter trial. That guy was like, I was a cop in a college town and the kids made fun of me, so I quit and taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we can get through another one. We spent a good... And I wish I could say the other ones that I have watched are much better. They are somewhat better. But this is more or less... If you have from here's a really great expert to a really bad expert, so far everybody has been in the bottom half. And yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not... Because one of the criticisms I've seen about this specific RICO trial is they should never have brought it forward as a RICO trial.
But the thing is, the RICO trial, if you do it right, and RICO was invented because the federal government cannot convict the mafia. They cannot take him down because the mafia had insulation. So they basically made new laws that allowed them to go after people in a way that wasn't legal before. So yes, if they want to take down this gang, but they're doing RICO to try to like chem it all together, because otherwise you just have a bunch of random gang members doing stuff.
Yeah.
and it's not as effective. It's not as punchy. This is just RICO is such a shit charge. So many times. Sorry to swear. I'm sorry.
No worries. But as I've seen, many of these in the YSL gang has done time before. Some are doing time. So it's not that they can't get to this gang because people are in prison. So, yeah. And then you still have the issue with people without representation. And also from the interview with the lead attorney, they are paying $15,000. That's it for each and every attorney in this. And I discussed it with Andrew Branca, and that's nowhere. And I think the wordings of the lead attorney was both the defendants and the lawyers are going to get bankrupt, because this has been going on for 6 months with maybe not daily hearings, but at least weekly. So, and this trial has what's the word? This trial goes before anything else. So it's not just like, oh, let's. I can't go to that hearing. Every attorney has to be on every hearing.
Well, yeah, but that's because it's, and yes, this could be a tactic that, yeah, everybody has to be there because, it's funny. They're like, oh, we'll worry about it later, but you're demanding all the attorneys to show up, but these guys don't all have attorneys. But you're making all the attorneys that are there show up. But, well, that's important. They're here. Well, it's clear the other guys need attorneys then. Like, you're kind of giving it away. Like, you're supposed to have attorneys for these guys. And now what are these attorneys supposed to do? Sit there and, like, if I want to object, let's say I got hired tomorrow by one of these guys or I got appointed. What's just going to tell me? Start watching Long Crime, write your objections down, and come in and, read off your timestamps?
Yeah. And the Daubert hearing is done and gone. This is this Daubert hearing was concluded 5 months ago. Now they are in the second round of jury interviews and jury selections. But last time they had jury selection, they got through 2 days, and that was 4 months ago. And then they had a several month break because lawyers got sanctioned and jury recording and everything. So now they are, I believe they started this week again with jury selections, and there's nothing that says any trial will. It might be going on next week. There might be a trial next month or next year. We don't know, and that is why I'm doing this Daubert hearing and the shenanigans just in wait for this trial to actually start. But nobody knows when it's going to start, because it can't start unless everybody has representation. Can it?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't start at all. I mean, this technically though is the trial. This shouldn't have started. Somebody asked about RICO. Yeah, RICO is racketeering, influenced, and corrupt organizations. So, and I mean that's.
And here's legal advices. What's up, Aninias? Aren't both of you supposed to be getting drunk? Well, in 5 minutes or so, my Finally Friday stream is starting. I will send you a link to Jeff if you want to warm up before your F It Friday stream. And it's this entire everything I have seen about this RICO. It's a clusterfuck. There's objectionable issues almost in every hearing, and just the fact that people didn't have representation during the Daubert hearing. I believe Andrew said that's a serious appellate issue to not be represented during actual hearings. But yeah. It's a clusterfuck. It's frustrating But it's also fascinating for me as an outsider to watch this. And that is why I'm covering it. So yeah, we are going to slow this down, and I will get you all over to my Finally Friday stream. I have a few minutes to set it up. I will send a link to Jeff. Maybe he will come on. Sean might show up. David from MLS Law will show up, I think. I sent to Natalie as well, Natalie Wisco. And she might show up, and a bunch of other people might show up to warm up, to show up then to Jeff's stream absolutely plastered already. But yeah, so when I end this, you will all be sent over to wait for my Finally Friday to start. And I have a few stuff that is prepared, but you never know what will be going on there. We didn't last time, and we probably will derail this time as well. So, Sean, you want to grift a bit?
Yeah, sure. So guys, I know some of you in the chat recognize me. I run the channel Potentially Criminal. I'm on here on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. I forget where else right off the top of my head. Also have Discord. Also have Locals, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. As far as content, try to keep it obviously focused on legal stuff, with an emphasis on criminal things, but obviously other legal things that may pop up. Do a show every Thursday night at 9:30. So for those who keep track, you just missed it. It just came out last night, covered a lot of things last night. I do on Locals, I do a show, I do a live stream after the Thursday night show. Usually we end up on there at about 11:30 till 12. And then on Monday nights at about 8:30, I usually come on. We hang out for about an hour and a half. And I got some videos coming out that I hopefully can get done sometime soon. I keep saying that, that are going to be pretty good. So I'll just leave that for now.
Okay. And I hope you can join me at some time at a later date if the trial starts, or if we just mock
100%.
Whatever is going on.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll have a lot of opportunities given how long this trial is going to take.
Yeah. So thank you, Sean, for showing up. Thank you, Chad, for showing up. I will do the outro, and I'll see you in a few minutes on my Finally Friday stream. Where's my outro? There's my outro. See you all. Bye-bye.